Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon. Welcome to the special council meeting, SPM 16th of June 2020. At this juncture, I'll hand over to the CEO, Mr. Charlie Bird.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Recording and live streaming of council meetings. All council meetings are filmed with both video and audio being recorded. Video is focused on a specific area, however, audio from the entire room is captured. The reasoning behind recording council meetings is, of course, to hold us more accountable and improve transparency of council's decision making to our community. The full meeting is being streamed live on council's YouTube channel, which is Alpine Shire Council, and will also be available on the YouTube channel shortly after this meeting.
Thank you. Acknowledgement of traditional custodians and recognition of all people. Please stand.
The Alpine Shire Council acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we are now on. We also acknowledge those people who have contributed to the rich fabric of our community and strive to make wise decisions that will improve the quality of life for all of us.
Apologies, of which there are none, I can see. Declarations by council laws of conflict of interest, of which we have none. Presentation of reports by officers. 5.1, Director of Corporate, Ms. Natalie Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to respond to the submissions received under Section 223 of the Local Government Act 1989 relating to the draft budget for 2020 to 21 for the Alpine Shire Council. Council has prepared a budget for 2020 to 21 which is aligned to the vision in the Council Plan for 2017 to 21. The budget provides a prudent financial position, enabling Council to target services and initiatives which support our community's resilience and vibrancy, which is particularly critical given the challenges faced by our community in 2020. Council is required to provide opportunity for the public to make submissions regarding any proposal contained within the draft budget. This is conducted through a formal process in accordance with Section 223 of the Local Government Act, which includes a 28-day period where the public can provide budget submissions and request to be heard by a committee of councillors in support of their submission. The draft budget was released for public comment following the ordinary council meeting in April, and public submissions formally closed on Thursday the 14th of May. Those that formally requested to be heard in support of their written submission attended a committee of council on the 26th of May, which was formed according to Section 2231B of the Local Government Act. The net impact of the submissions which are recommended for incorporation into the budget 2020 to 21 is as follows. Carried forwards capital works of $1.197 billion, new capital works of $913,000, additional operating expenditure of $80,000, and carried forward grant income of $1.165 million, a new grant income of $161,000, and additional rates, charges and other income of $60,000. Overall, the projected surplus is $2.3 million compared to the draft budget surplus of $1.2 million. The detail as to the submissions and the recommendations is contained within this report in a number of tables. Thank you.
So moved. Councillor Forsyth. Councillor Nicholas. Councillor Forsyth.
There's quite an extent of submissions made to this, and there's quite a few submissions from the public as well. I would just like clarification that point number 3, following submissions may be further assessed or managed by the Alpine Shire Council as per comment detail. However, do not result in the changes to the Alpine Shire Council. This particular one, and also any submissions that were put in that have not been, I'm hoping that the people who put in submissions that did not get through muster have been duly notified, or are they being notified after this event?
So it happens after. So after the council meeting, there's a formal notification process where people get a written a letter that states whether they were successful or not in their submission. submissions and the reasoning behind it.
Right, so some people are on tenterhooks out there at the moment. Okay.
Councillor Nicholas.
Further to Councillor Forsyth's question, does that letter or could that letter contain information about how they might be able to proceed to find some funding?
Where relevant, we can have a look at what's noted as generally they're fairly standard because they take a form with a council report and
Sure.
the information is contained in the council report gets translated into a letter. But we're always open to having discussions with people about their plans and where else they might be able to.
Sure, because they're all worthwhile projects, they just didn't quite fit in with the way we see things at the moment. Yep.
Any further commentary? Councillor Janus looks like he's going to raise his hand. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm sitting in the hot seat.
In the bleachers.
Yes, I used to be in this position. Look, I think some of the projects that we have here we put before council for funding are quite viable projects that will benefit our community a great deal, obviously. And of those submitters, I congratulate those people for submitting their concerns to council, having listened to that, and I hope that those people who make, or groups that haven't been successful, will use other avenues to fund their projects. It is a difficult time, and government are offering us funds to help our communities in various ways, and that will be state and federal government. So I think we should also congratulate our various governments in assisting local government or working with local government for the betterment of our communities. I don't have a lot more to say. Hopefully that those that aren't successful will receive some assistance down the track to be more, I don't know the word I was going to use now, but anyway, to get the end result, basically. That's thank you. And thanks to the staff people putting in a lot of work to get us to this budget submission. Thank you.
Councillor Pearce looks like he's got a question.
How are you, Pete?
I'm well.
Thank you for the opportunity.
No further questions? Or are there further questions? Councillor Keeble.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to say that I concur with my councillors. The budget's probably the single most important document that we look at every year. It runs what we do for the next 12 months. And there's a lot of work that's gone in behind it. Thanks for all the community people that put in submissions. Not everyone always gets what they want, but we strive really hard to do the right thing each year. But it is the most important document. It runs what we do for the next 12 months. Thanks for everyone for all the hard work they've put into it.
Right of reply, Councillor Forsyth.
Just one last thing, and following on from all the other councillors' comments, I do note here in one of the rationale and approach is that council would encourage this submitter to resubmit to the community grants process. And I'll just make a point here that the community grants applications have to be in by the 28th of this month. So keep an eye on your documents and keep an eye on those letters that are coming out to say that you may not have been successful because there may be another funding opportunity, as Councillor Janus has pointed out. Thank you.
With no more comment, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Carried. Item 5.1.2, declaration of a dinner plane special rate. Ms Cook.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. A council may declare a special rate for the purpose of defraying the expenses of performing a function that is of special benefit to the persons required to pay the special rate. The declaration of a special rate is a requirement of the Local Government Act under Section 163. The purpose of this report is to declare a special rate for Dinner Plain Village, being called the Dinner Plain Special Rate, which will be applicable to commercial and industrial land only for the period from the 1st of July to the 30th of June 2021. At the April 2020 Ordinary Council meeting, Council resolved to give notice of its intention to declare a special rate for the provision of services of special benefit to Dinnerplain Village. 6 submissions were received throughout the public exhibition period and are summarised in the table within your report. It is acknowledged that the Dinnerplain commercial and industrial ratepayers have been heavily impacted by bushfires and COVID-19 restrictions, as have many other commercial and industrial ratepayers across the Shire. To this end, 1/4 of the rates applicable to commercial and industrial ratepayers in Dinnerplain for 1920 have been waived. In addition, the due date for 4th payment rate instalments have been extended to the 30th of June. Since these 6 submissions were received, the Victorian Government has announced easing of COVID-19 restrictions, meaning that the ski season may proceed from the 22nd of June 2020. It is therefore anticipated that commercial activity will return to Dinnerplain. It is noted that should there be a change in COVID-19 restrictions that negatively impact on the commercial snow season, Council retains the flexibility to waive a portion of the special rate if this becomes appropriate to the situation. It is noted that the estimated cost of the special rate service is $701,000 for the 2020-2021 year, which is considerably more than the special rate will raise. The special rate will raise an estimated $176,486 for the year. At the same time, the special rate is aligned to the rate being paid by commercial and industrial ratepayers in the rest of the Shire. The special rate does not penalise Dinnerplain ratepayers compared to other ratepayers in the Shire. Thank you.
Mover and seconder, please. Move. Councillor Forsyth. Councillor Nicholas. Sorry, didn't see your hand up. Councillor Forsyth.
Yes, just take the point that over the last 4 or 5 years, the special rate has reduced from 80% down to 43%, which brings it in line to all other commercial properties within the Shire. I just note there were submissions in here. We have 6 submissions being tabled for us to contemplate. On those submissions, I just take the point that COVID restrictions are affecting commercial properties. It's not just at Dinnerplain, it's also down at places like Lorne, Torquay, wherever. I don't believe that those places have changed their rating structure just because of COVID restrictions. I think that the allocation of a 25% rebate for this particular year is welcome, and make sure that if you're not receiving it, then ask why.
Councillor Nicholas.
The other thing I would add is that there are always hardship provisions available if it's tricky to pay the extra, but I think we're putting in place the best we can to ensure that Dinnerplain can operate over winter and people can start to use it as they'd like to.
Any further questions? Councillor Janus, are you contemplating a question or are you just moving your microphone?
I'm doing both, Mr Mayor. I think Dinnerplain, by the end of this year, Dinnerplain businesses and residents will see an increase in tourism up there because of our inability within Australia to travel overseas, and there will be a restriction on people coming into Australia, and therefore Australians will want to look at the beautiful area that we are offering, and I think businesses should take that opportunity to invite them up to extend our hospitality, and I think that will happen. People are looking for different types of holidays, and now is a great opportunity to offer that to the public out there. The statistics show that the amount of inquiries within Australia has gone up sort of 100% in some areas even more than that. And I think that dinner playing is probably one of those areas where inquiries at least have gone up. So this is the opportunity now for businesses to grab that, to try and make up some of those losses through the bushfire season that we had, and now with the COVID. Australians now are becoming more conscious of travelling and spending within Australia.
Here, Ron, I hope Ian Goddard is listening down later at it.
Former Councillor Barnes was a great Australian participant here.
Any further comment? No right reply? All those, we go to the vote. All those in favour? Carried.
Ian Goddard wasn't that fond of BP, so...
Luckily your microphone's turned off, Darryl. 5.1.3 Adoption of the 2021 Budget. Ms Cook.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to adopt the budget for 2021, incorporating the strategic resource plan and rates and charges for the 2020-21 financial year. The budget projects a surplus of 2.3 million, which is influenced by a rate increase of 2% in line with the Fair Go rate system, which caps Victorian Council rate increases in line with inflation. Our capital works program, totalling $8.7 million in 2020-21, reflecting a strong pipeline of asset renewal, upgrades and new assets. A flat underlying materials and services budget due to continued diligent cost management and strong procurement practices, which seek to provide value for money for our ratepayers. Over $1 million of bushfire recovery spending to underpin and strengthen the resilience of our community, residents and businesses. An increase in staffing levels in response to changing service requirements, including support for bushfire recovery initiatives, as well as an increased focus on sustainability projects in relation to waste management and climate change action in particular. All submissions have been received, have been considered by Council. This report reflects the Office's recommendations to Council following the review and the cost and scope of each submission and the overall deliverability of the full scope of the 2020-21 work. Thank you.
Moving a seconder, please. Councillor Forsyth. Councillor Napstone.
Just a quick clarification in dot point E, special rate for rateable dinner plain properties. That is in addition to the general residential rate. It looks a little bit, especially when you read down, you've got general residential rate, then commercial industrial differential rate is 0.005. If you add the 0.004 and the 0.001, you get that. That's how it comes out. It just looks a little bit strange in the way it's presented. That was one thing. The other thing, you can answer that in a minute if you like, Mr. Cook. I think that the budget this year, and I compliment the staff on this, was a very difficult one following bushfires and also running through our COVID problems.
Yeah.
I think it's a responsible budget for going forward. I also think it's a responsible budget in the fact that we do have an election this year, and it would be not good on the behalf of this council to put through things that were not able to be achievable goals, and or any unrealistic expectations. I think the budget itself is a very broad, Shire-wide capital works budget, and it also maintains the Alpine Shire's focus on green, renewable and environmental friendly policies. So all up, I think it's a brilliant budget, and I do point out, especially for those that are waiting for funding submissions and whether or not they've got the Guernsey or not, that in the Mayor and CEO's introduction to the budget in paragraph 3, there is a specific point which says we are boosting our community grants program from 80,000 to over 500,000 this year. thanks to external funding, and our events grants program will increase from 200 to 300,000. Now, because we haven't had too many events happening, that 300,000 is going to get pushed into a shorter period of time, so we should have some fantastic events. Thank you.
Councillor Epstein.
Am I working?
Not working auto today.
Oh, okay. I think that Councillor Forsyth has covered all those matters really well, and given this is such a peculiar year and who knows what's coming, special thank you to the staff and all the efforts that were put into comprising the budget. Thank you.
Any further? Councillor Keeble.
I will. This budget comes at a difficult time. I'll go a bit closer. Comes at a difficult time for a lot of people. There are other shires looking at different rates. We have gone with 2% increase in our rates, which is in line with the Fair Go rate system, which caps all Victorian Council rates. One of the issues of not going with any rate increase, it just doesn't affect the next year. It affects the coming years in a compound sort of way. And so we're mindful that right now there are things that still need to be done so we can inject jobs into and money into the economy in our area to keep things going. It's important that we do that. We know that there are people out there that will struggle to pay the rates, whether there's a 2% increase or not. And there has been quite a lot of rate relief in different areas of our communities already due to the fires and COVID. So I urge those people that are still struggling to make sure that they get in contact with council, because there are other ways for payments to be made, and they'll be very compassionate like they always are. It would be a good political, a vote-winning thing to say zero, like some councils may do for rate increase, but actually in the end, it doesn't do us any good as a council where most of our income is based on rates. I'll leave it at that.
I like the new voice, Councillor Keeble.
I'm not ill, by the way. Too much shouting. About time.
Any further commentary? If not, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Carried. Ms Cook, please pass on to the staff our thanks as a group for the extra layer of difficulty that's been thrown upon them this year, and to Mr Jeremy's team, I know you have a lot of work cut out for you next year, so I'll be looking forward to seeing how you progress. 5.1.4, adoption of council plan. Ms Cook.
Mr. Mayor. The annual review of the council plan and the municipal health and wellbeing plan are requirements of the Local Government Act and the Public Health and Wellbeing Act, respectively. This report ensures that council's meeting its requirements under both those acts. The council plan is a key document which is required under legislation and includes the strategic objectives of the council, strategies for achieving those objectives, strategic indicators for monitoring achievement, a strategic resource plan, and projects and services intended to span the lifetime of the plan. The 2017 to 21 Alpine Shire Council Plan was developed following the 2016 election and was adopted in June 2017. This review will be the final version of the current council plan, given that council elections are due to be held in October 2020. The newly elected council will be required to develop a new council plan outlining the council's strategic direction for the new 4-year term. The new council plan will be developed under the guidance of the new Local Government Act, the Local Government Act 2020. The current review, as presented, incorporates administrative amendments only. Thank you.
So moved. Oh.
Hang on, Councillor Keeble, Councillor Nicholas.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that it's been 4 years, well, less than 4 years since we did this plan. There's a lot that has happened in the last 4 years since this council has been elected, and I think if we look at that plan, we will find that we actually have covered off a lot of what we had asked to do, plus more. And I think we've always had the best interests of our ratepayers in mind when we've gone looking at capital works and renewals and updates and upgrades and footpaths and whatever they are, lots of things. And we've tried to make that Shire-wide. So I think it's a very important document that we write at the start of the time when we're elected. Thank you.
Councillor Nicholas?
I agree with Councillor Keeble. Well expressed, thank you. And wanted to just raise that it is the last period that this council plan will be in place, and after the election there'll be a new one, as Ms Cook said, developed under the new Local Government Act 2020. And part of that act includes a community engagement component that's specifically directed towards the council plan, according to my reading of the act, or can be specifically directed towards the council plan. So I think that's a real positive. And to add on to Councillor Keeble's comments, not just has this council plan been delivered and been delivered pretty much in full, there's been a whole lot of other stuff brought in on top that the Alpine Shire and staff in particular have had to deal with, such as the circular economy policy, which is a massive piece of work for us, and the new Local Government Act, which also will take a lot of staff time to embed into our processes. So well done, staff. Thank you, officers.
Any further commentary? You're right on reply, Councillor Keeble.
Question, I notice recommendation 3 is about the CEO authorising for adjustments in the next 30 days. Just how you're looking for the next 30 days, Mr CEO?
It's got holidays planned.
Staying at home.
I've got 1 week off on leave, the first week I've had off in about 6 months, maybe more than 6 months. Yeah, second week of school holidays. Other than that, I'll be here.
Ms Cook, would you like to answer?
I guess my question is, were there many adjustments
No.
to be done?
Minor administrative adjustments.
Wonderful.
To align the SRP, to align the new budget, to change the photo of the mayor and a new front page. All that's required of the CEO is to authorise us to send it to Mrs. Office. So it'll be well within time.
Well earned break. Thank you.
Starting to look like Ron. He could have left the same picture.
I approve of the new photograph.
To the vote. All those in favour? Carried. Congratulations. 5.1.5, signing and sealing of High Country Library Network Shared Service Agreement. Ms Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alpine Shire Council has provided a library processing shared service to Mansfield Shire Council, Benalla Rural City Council, Rural City of Wangaratta, and to its own library branches since the 1st of August 2016. To date, the service has been governed by 2 High Country Library Network Shared Service Agreements, the first covering the initial 12-month period and the second covering the period from the 1st of October 2017 to the 30th of June 2020. The 4 councils who are party to the shared service agreement have agreed to the continuation of the arrangement, and we have drafted an updated agreement. The major tenets of that agreement remain unchanged, except for the inclusion of 2 options to extend for additional 3 years. There are other minor modifications to the agreement which are outlined in your report.
So moved.
Councillor Janis. Seconder?
Yep.
Councillor Nicholas.
Yes,
Councillor Janis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In itself, having the other parties involved, the other councils, Benalla, Wangaratta and Mansfield, actually wanting to have that piece of the recommendation with those extra 3 years in there speaks for itself in the fact that we have been doing a great service to our communities, or all those communities, through this shared library network, and the staff that we've employed, and there have been since we've taken over this role, we have been able to employ staff specifically for that. So that's more jobs, which is great, and they've been able to provide that service in a really professional manner, because and that's obvious in the fact that other councils have viewed what we're doing, and they're so happy with it that they want to have an extension or that offered if they so want to take it up without having to come back through this whole system. So libraries are continue to evolve. They are an important part of our community for people to use in so many different ways, and I think the way we have our network aligned shows that we are keeping up with modern technology and service provision in this area. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Nicholas.
Yep, what he said, but also, one of the things that's really special is that a role like this would usually go to a larger council or one closer to Melbourne or closer to the Hume Highway or something like that. So it's fabulous that we have been able to capture the employment and the role into the Alpine Shire.
Councillor Keeble.
I remember the pain that we went through prior to 2016 with the High Country Libraries, and this is an absolute success story. The fact that this is continuing on and what Alpine Shire has done and the employees have done to make this a success has been fantastic. So recognise that.
Why don't you turn your mic on and have a proper go? Councillor Pearce?
I'll just comment, there was some dark days involved in it.
But it's terrific to see. It is a straight success story. It's fantastic.
Any further? Right reply.
Microphone's on.
Would you like to say something, Councillor
One thing I'm
Pearce?
very glad, and I often think about it when I look at the library in Bright there, the big sign up the front that says free library, and that's been there for a long, long time, and I look forward to it remaining to be there.
Predates your term of time on council? Predates your time on council?
Just.
Yeah, I was there, helped put the last block in.
Councillor Janus, any further, Ed?
No, thank you.
To the vote, all those in favour? Carried. And there ends the special council meeting. We need to go in camera for a confidential matter. So at...
We don't have general business
No general business, no conversation, no questions, no... Yeah, well, that's exactly...
So move us into in camera.
Move us into in camera. Can you move?
Yes, please. I'll move us into in camera
Second. Those in favour? Carried.
at 4:36.
And we close the meeting at the end of it. We're done?